welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear for our special guest host, Alex Abuyuan.
All right. How's everyone doing out there? So glad to see y'all. Cool. So I am blessed and honored. Thank you, Andy and Jane, for trusting me with the Alliance team today on the TWC. Always look at this as a great opportunity to help the team out and do what I do, man. Do my thing. Teach and encourage, uplift, and maybe get in your craw a little bit about stuff that you need to do, that I need to do. Okay, so a lot of stuff I'm telling you about and talking to you about is stuff I need to hear. So sometimes Andy likes for us to get on the call because he knows we need to hear what we're teaching. I love that. And this topic today, mental toughness, I tell you what, gang, Andy Albright has been my model for mental toughness over years and years and years, almost 30 years over 30 years that I've known Andy. And he's been a great model for me, a great mentor when it comes to mental toughness. And I promise y'all, it's so weird, a Filipino saying y'all, I promise you guys, that's my California kicking in. I promise you that Andy is probably the best at mental toughness and handling negative, and everything I've learned from him. So I appreciate Andy in that regard, and Jane. They've helped us through tough times, and that's one thing that if I could really impart to you anything in my journey to making this business what I've been able to do for myself and my family, and this is a characteristic of all the great leaders in the Alliance, is their ability to handle negative, their ability to be mentally tough. Those of us that we call legacy managers, the guys that have their NAA number starts with 000. There's only a handful of us that have that distinction, because I think the numbers are in the 500,000s, right? Or maybe it's in 600,000. I think it's still in the 500,000. That really is the number of agents that we've contracted. So when you think about, the 25 years we've been in this thing, starting from day one, getting contracted with Fidelity and Guaranteed Life, I was like number 347. There are agents that have lower numbers than me. Like Katz, I think, is in the hundreds. And so I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Adam and Beth because their number is way lower than mine. So I'm not even on the short list. I was in the triple digit list. But anyway, when you look at all the folks that have really persevered and displayed mental toughness, they're still with us. When you look at all the top leaders, Adam, I started naming all the names, Fitz and Davies and Mike and Noel and Patrick Connors and all these folks with the 000 numbers. There's a reason why we have what we have, and we're making the kind of money that we're making. So what I hope to do over the next couple days, today and the activity call, is to kind of give you some tools, maybe give you some ideas on how to develop mental toughness. As Andy has always taught me, your ability to handle negative will determine your income. Like, if your ability to handle negative is huge, you're going to make huge income. If your ability to handle negative is about the size of a pregnant ant, then you're probably not going to be around tomorrow. Okay. So you got to learn the skill. It really is a skill, gang. It's really a skill. It's a mindset, attitude. It's all those things wrapped up into one. And I'm going to try to touch on all these things. And I'm not going to give you a whole lot of psychology per se, but hopefully I'll give you some models and some tools to work with that will help you in this journey. Because this journey really is one of progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. And that progress is about developing your abilities to deal with people, to handle negative, to deal with success. Sometimes dealing with success can bite you in the butt too, where you let pride and ego get in the way of you growing further. And that's what typically happens when we see successful agents, particularly when they become, great producers. They never go beyond that plateau because they're scared of building a team, right? They don't. I hear this all the time. I'm so sick of babysitting agents, and right away I already know where their mentality is at, right? Because the babysitting agents mentality comes from the people that hire agents to get them further up the promotion guidelines. They're looking at agents as a stepping stone. Hiring agents is my stepping stone to move up, right? And that's totally backwards way to look at it. Hiring agents is a way to serve more people, to throw yourself out there more, and to give yourself a way to develop a team of people that are successful, that are going through that same journey with you. And you're teaching them the same tools that you learned from your upline, hopefully, on dealing with the negatives. So this is our mental toughness boot camp. So let's dive in and see if I can share my little, here we go. My Zoom's a little laggy, so, all right, cool. Well, hopefully y'all can see that pretty well. So the mental toughness boot camp, and it really is a boot camp. I remember back in the day, and I really can relate to this. And those of you in the military that have been in the military, veterans, you remember back to boot camp, when you were a worm. Back at the Air Force Academy, I was a dually, I was a smack, I was a worm. Okay, all those things that denote that you're the little guy on the totem pole, little gal on the totem pole, and that you are really meaningless to the world. Okay, and the beautiful thing about the academy and any boot camp, really doesn't matter, is they really try to tear you down from the person you were before. That selfish person, that person that always looked out for number one, that person that never worked in teams, that person that had an ego. And really the purpose is to break you down so that you start learning how to work as a team, that you live for the other person, your teammate, your foxhole buddy, your fellow cadets, your fellow airman, your fellow soldier. Because your lives are going to depend on each other, and that's really the bottom line. And that's really the purpose of boot camp, is to tear you down physically, mentally, emotionally, and then build you back up to a soldier, to an airman, to an Air Force officer in my case, right? And that is really how you learn mental toughness, is tearing away what you were before and building yourself up to be the success machine that the Alliance needs. Right. And I say it like that. Certainly, we want you to be successful. We want your goals and your dreams to happen. But we also need you on our team to grow Integrity Marketing Group, to grow the Alliance, to be our running buddies, our teammates, to make the Alliance the dominant IMO in the country under the Integrity Marketing Group umbrella. Right. So this is what we hope you learn as a new agent coming in. You have all your hopes and dreams and desires, and you want this business to work for you, right? But what we also desire for you is for you to feel like you're part of a team that cares about you, and that you can contribute to, that you can, put your personality and your uniqueness, because we need your uniqueness. Right. We don't need another Andy Albright. We need another you. We need another person, Joe Smith or Jane Smith, that can grow this thing and do what you do best. Right. Everyone needs to be the best version of themselves so we can grow the Alliance. Okay. So here's kind of the question, is what will break you? And I love this picture because this just reminds me, because these are Air Force Academy smacks, doolies, lowlifes that have come in desiring to, make it at the academy, and then the upperclassmen are getting in their face because that's what they deserve. They deserve nothing but yelling because they don't know what to do. And so my question for you is, what's going to break you? You came into the business with your dreams, goals, and desires, things that you wanted to accomplish, but what's going to happen to you, because we know it will happen. When you start anything new, bad stuff's going to happen, right? And we call that learning, okay? But you might call it failure. You might call it bad stuff. How are you going to react to it? What little thing could break you, right? And what we're going to try to teach you over the course of today and Friday is how to figure out what that is and how you can thwart the enemy of failure to get in the way. So one of the first things that we would recommend, that Andy's always recommended to me, in fact, just so you know, I am a very passionate person. You know, I can have a bad temper. I can just go crazy running through the streets naked because I'm so fired up about something. And Andy knows that about me. What I love about Andy is he knows me so well. And that's the advantage of having a great relationship with your upline, a close relationship, is they know you. They know what buttons to press and what buttons not to press. And Andy's always taught me, dude, you got to control your emotions. You know, and he teaches that to everyone, right? You can't get so fired up that you want to run through the streets naked, and you can't get so depressed that you want to jump off a bridge, right? You got to keep it in the middle. He's the perfect one at keeping it in the middle. The other thing about Andy that is really unique, and he's about the best person that I've ever seen, is that he forgets stuff. He's the best forgetter of all time. He forgets what people did to him. He forgets agents that do stupid stuff. He gives everyone a shot. He gives everyone a chance, right? And he just moves on. He doesn't care about negative stuff that happens to him, or, you know, he cares about negative stuff happening to people, but he's the greatest example of just moving past it and forgetting about it and moving on. And that's what I love about him. Sometimes I'll just stew on it and, you know, get all crazy about it, and he just has this great ability, and that's what I've been trying to emulate all my life since I've known Andy, is his ability to forget. So let's talk about the brand new agent that gets involved with us in the alliance. And the alliance is like brand new, right? Brand new to you. And the thing about something that you do in brand new is you're going to go through this cycle. And this is a great model to explain the cycle of change that you're going to go through when you start anything new, whether it's a new business, a new endeavor, even getting married, starting a new life with a partner, right? With your spouse. And you're going to go through these stages. The first stage is uninformed optimism. This is where you don't know what you don't know. So you're so jacked up, you don't know what you don't know. And then you fall into stage 2, which is informed pessimism. This is where you start learning all the stuff that you didn't know, that you weren't expecting, that weren't so positive, right? And then you'll sink down to the valley of despair, stage 3. And this is where this is the go, no-go decision for you. This is going to be where you're going to be at your lowest point. This is going to be where you're thinking, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe God did not send me here. Maybe this is the enemy sending me here and getting me to fail. And this is where you have to make a decision whether or not you stick it out or you don't, right? And then stage 4, things start getting better. You start seeing results, informed optimism, and then, you know, you just do more of what's successful. And then stage 5, successful fulfillment. That's when you get to the top. So everyone goes through this dip, right? This dip. So let's talk about this a little bit more detail. Uninformed optimism. You're all jacked up. You're excited. You want this thing to work for you so bad that you're willing to do anything in your mind, right? I'm going to do anything to make this work, man. I see all these successful people writing business. I see, Jeremy Adaki going across the stage, being the #1 rookie of the year in IULs. And, this guy, I could be like him, right? Or I could be like a Megan Wood, where she did over 100,000 in issue pay premium in the month of January. Oh, I could do what she does. She was just a waitress, right? A server at Applebee's. I could do what she's doing. And you're all fired up because you think, man, she's no better than me, which is an attitude you should have. But what you don't know is what she went through to get to where she is, right? The uninformed stuff that you don't know about. That's the uninformed part, right? Uninformed optimism sits above the line of positive, the land of positive emotion. That's that dotted line right there. You're either on the bottom of it, or you're at the top of it, right? So you see all the benefits of what you want to accomplish, but you don't really see the cost of what it's involved in getting there. And you think about the future with all this money coming in, but you don't realize what it's going to cost you, right? So that's that uninformed optimism stage. So let's go to the next one, informed pessimism. So what is informed pessimism? You start dialing leads. That's really when it starts. Okay. You start dialing leads and you start finding people that can't take away your birthday, but they're going to make you feel pretty bad. They're going to yell at you. They're going to say, I don't want you. I'm going to sue you. How about that one? Oh my gosh, Alex, I get this call from an agent. This person's going to sue me. What do I do? It's like, dude, relax. Okay. Or people just quit. This is just not what I thought it was. Okay. And so your mentality starts shifting to a negative state. The benefits that you thought you were going to get almost don't really seem important anymore because of what you're assessing as far as the cost to your ego of doing the business. You start questioning, man, is this really worth this effort of dialing, $500 a week and only getting, 2 appointments? Then you start looking for reasons to quit because, look, the funny thing about the human condition, human mentality, is that you're always going to try to rationalize why it's not your fault. Okay, that's just the way people are. It's not my fault. I did it, but I did it like you told me. That's the one that cracks me up. I read the script just like you told me, Alex. Just like I learned from Terry Edwards on the video or Bell Krause on the video. This I did exactly. And then what you do is you say, okay, well, let me hear it. And they do it for you. And it sounds nothing like Bell Krause or Terry Edwards. You know what I'm saying? It cracks me up. They kind of have, it's like one of those, remember American Idol when they showed a lot of really bad singers? It's kind of like that. You're thinking, don't these people know that they can't sing? But they're still out there thinking that they're like Mariah Carey and they're doing these runs that are way off key and you don't know where they're going. And you're thinking, how did they get this far in life thinking that they were a good singer? Well, that's sometimes some of y'all out there. When you read the script for the first time to your upline, even though you promised them you're doing it just like, Jake and Bell. So you start getting into this emotional roller coaster of, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is for me. This is informed pessimism. So let's go to the next stage. The valley of despair. Some people kind of go through this misery, right? And a lot of times what I find people in the valley of despair is they typically are not talking to their upline a lot. They're not getting coaching and they blame the lead. The leads suck, or I can't do this business, or God really didn't want me to do this. I know I thought this was an answer to a prayer, but maybe he really didn't want me to do this, right? I mean, it's so funny how Christians rationalize, well, maybe God told me to do this. Maybe God told me to do that. Maybe, it's like, dude, have you ever learned about discernment? Okay. This is the lowest point of the emotional cycle. And you enter into the valley of despair. And this, honestly, gang, is where most people give up. This is where they quit. But what happens is when they quit, they go back to where they were before they decided to join us, right? But they're willing to do that, then change where they're at, right? And this is where we get kind of the yo-yo effect. So it gets hard here at the Alliance, and then they quit, right? They go back to their life before until another recruiting agent calls them up. And they're thinking, this 3-letter IMO or 4-letter IMO is going to be my ticket because they're way different. They're way different than the Alliance. They got better leads, this guy told me, and they got better closing rates. And they're going to give me 5% more of my contract. And they seem a lot nicer than those Alliance people, right? Until they start. So they have this uninformed optimism about this other 3-4-letter IMO. They get into that one, right? And then they start dialing the phone. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, this is just like it was with the Alliance. They start realizing that the variation in the two opportunities wasn't the IMO, it was themselves, right? But their minds can't handle it. They start going into the informed pessimism, and then they're at stage 3 again. Right? You ever know people that are calling you every 6 months about a new multi-level opportunity? These are exactly the cycle these people go into. They get all jacked up about this, multi-level. They go buy the vitamins and they go crazy about the vitamins. They're selling all their family and friends, right? All of a sudden they made, $5 on their first bonus check. And then they make $3 the next month, and people are quitting, and the vitamins aren't working like they said they would. And so they quit that until they find the next MLM. These are MLM hoppers, right? And so you're going to have to decide, here I am again. I got to draw my line in the concrete, like Adam Katz says. I got to draw my line in the concrete instead of the sand, because every time I draw the line in the sand, I seem to go back to stage 1 and repeat the cycle over and over again, right? So when you get to the valley of despair, you have to make a decision. Am I going to persevere? Am I going to have the mental toughness to work through my realization that it's me, not the leads. It's me, not the script. It's me, not the environment. It's me, not these endless Zoom calls I got to go on. It's me, not the event that they're trying to promote. It's me, me, me. And you decide that it is me. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And you get coaching, you get help, and you get encouragement. I'm going to show you those things on how to dig yourself out of the valley of despair. Then you start seeing results, and the results start snowballing. You're going to start seeing more results. And you start doing more of the right things to reinforce the results you're getting, which then reinforces you doing more of the right things. And all of a sudden, you're starting to realize, golly, man, I am doing this just like Brian Rojas taught me. I'm doing this just like Megan Wood's doing it, or I'm doing this 50% of Megan Wood. How many of y'all would like to do 50% of what Megan Wood's doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this like what Jeremy Adaki's doing. I'm doing this, right? Insert your top producer here. And you're starting to get the results because you're saying stuff the way they're saying it. You're reading the script the way they're reading it. You know, you're doing exactly what Mike Morisi is in managing his leads. You're doing what Eric Belair is teaching on squeezing every bit of pink out of the lead. That's an old school term, squeezing the pink out of the lead. You know, Eric Belair is one of the best on how to maximize your leads. I hope you all heard him at NightCon because he was awesome. He always fires me up. I'm doing it just like he's doing it, or I'm doing it like half of what he's doing, but I can get to 3/4 of what he's doing, right? So you start moving up to informed optimism. And the beauty about informed optimism is you know what you know now. Now it's doing more of what you know. And this is where faith kicks in, is like, and this is kind of to me, where the pivot point is. The pivot point of going from informed optimism to step 5, success fulfillment. It comes down to lead investment. You're successful at $500 a week, right? You're kicking butt. You know, you're making, 10, 15,000 a month, but you want to make, 250, 300. And all you really got to do, gang, is double your lead investment, go from 500 to 1,000 a week. But then the pucker factor goes in. And that's the crazy part of informed optimism is now you know what the algebra equation is, right? What I love about algebra in this business is what you do on the left side, the results are on the right side. So if you double the left side, you're going to double the right side, right, in results. If you put the same commensurate amount of work in, sometimes it's even not as much work, but you'll double your income because your lead investment. And that's the deal, is having enough faith that the past does equal the future, that you can double your lead investment, and you know that you're going to more than double your production. You just got to do it. And this is that Indiana Jones moment, right? In Indiana Jones, where he's got to cross the invisible bridge to get to the Holy Grail. And you see him kind of look, you can't see the bridge because it blends in to the background of the cliff. And what I love about that scene is he puts his hand on his heart, he puts his foot out, and he just steps. And as soon as he steps, the bridge appears, and then you see the camera kind of swing to the side view, and the land bridge is there. He just couldn't see it, right? And that's where you go from informed optimism to success and fulfillment, right? So that's what happens in the valley of despair, to go from informed optimism and then success and fulfillment. Now, let's say you're a top producer and you're kicking butt. You know, you can repeat the cycle again. And most of you, all you guys and gals that are top producers, or even medium producers or average producers, is that you will go through the cycle again if you're not already recruiting and building a team. A lot of times, the top producers, what they're going to do is they'll go through the mentality, which is kind of interesting to me. The mentality of, they get fired up and jacked up about recruiting. They come out in NatCon and it's like, I get it now, Andy. It's just like if I owned this house outright and I was getting, $1,000 a month in rent, free and clear of a mortgage. What's that worth to me? Well, that house is worth $200,000. So that $1,000 a month is worth $200,000 as an asset, right? I get it now. I want to recruit. So you're going to order 10 ZipRecruiter ads from President's Club, right? You call Clay, hey, Clay, what do I need to do? He goes, this is all you need to do. This is what our top people are doing. They're doing ZipRecruiter ads. You're doing monster resumes, right? They're doing the preset appointments. Like, I got a guy, Bruce, he gets like 10 contracts a month, 8 to 10 on $500 a month on all the Alliance resources. And like, it's amazing. So you're going to start doing that. Then you go back to stage one, because now you go into uninformed optimism of building a team, and you think it's going to be easy. I love it when brand new recruiters, they go, okay, Alex, all I really want, I'm just going to hire the good people. I'm going to just interview them. And if they're trash, I'm not going to hire. I'm just going to hire the good people. I just crack up when people say that to me, because all the experienced recruiters, all the top people, they know what it takes. I love it when Jason Matha talks about recruiting. He's a machine. When he was on that recruiting week that Andy did the deal on recruiting, he is a machine. And I know Jason cracks up when people say that, because Jason only found good people out of the quantity of people that he recruited. That's where it comes from, the numbers. You can't just do that. So you're going to hire like your first 5 or 10 people. And because you don't know what you're doing, you're going to hire, you're going to find your people that are like very minimal personalities that you're going to attract. Okay, not saying that your personality is like that, but you know how it is, brand new recruiter. And then what you're going to do is like, okay, I got my 10, Alex. Okay, I'm going to make them successful. So you invite them on the Zoom calls for Andy's TWC, and only 2 of them show up. And then, when they get leads, you give them all 10 leads, and no one dials the phone. Maybe one person dials, and they do 30 dials, and they're supposedly full time. And then it's like, you come back to me, right? And I know the cycle. You get into informed pessimism, building a team, and you start asking me, Alex, this sucks. My people don't do anything. They're calling about product, they're calling about this, but they don't make dials. Man, I hate building a team. And then you quit. You call Clay. It's like, cancel my ads. I'm just gonna produce. See, the problem is when you're in the informed pessimism state, actually when you're in the uninformed optimism, is because you hired 10 people, you stop producing. Right? You stop producing, thinking that you're going to make all these overrides on all these 10 top agents, right? They look good, smell good, but they don't do anything, and you're all jacked up. So you stop producing. You're not making any money, thinking that the override's coming, right? And we call that in our business psychic income. You're thinking you're making income just on hiring people, but they're not producing. They're not doing anything. And then you come back to me like, tail between the legs, say, I'm not going to recruit anymore. Like, why not? And well, I hate babysitting agents. I hate answering questions. They're not down the phone. Blah, 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 blah. I get them leads. They don't do anything. Right. And then you quit because you're at the valley of despair. You just don't want to do it anymore. Right. And that's what happens. That's why a lot of top producers quit recruiting. So let me ask you a question. Has Andy Albright ever quit recruiting? Have I ever quit recruiting? Has Jason Mathis ever stopped recruiting? Has Andy Riddle ever stopped recruiting? One of our top partners? I mean, never, ever, ever, ever. Not in the vocabulary. And there's a reason for that. It's just like producing. Like if you stop running leads, you're probably not going to make much money. But when you continually order leads every week, brand new leads every week, you're probably going to start making money. Just like recruiting, you got to recruit every week, right? Every week. So that you will go through that again. I promise you do anything new in the business, you're going to do it again. Just like hiring people. So Alex, I've learned that from the NatCon that I should hire staff. Awesome. Let's hire staff. Then you go out and you start hiring your friend's wife's mother, right? And she sucks as an admin person. And you come up to me, Alex, I've hired my friend's wife's mother and she sucks. Well, fire her. Well, that'll put me kind of in a pickle because she's my friend's wife's mother. Dude, never hire someone that you aren't willing to fire in a New York minute, right? You don't be hiring family and friends if you can't fire your family and friends. And so you go through this whole cycle again, realizing you got to go through a lot of staff people to find a good one. I don't care how good you are. They are better than you at answering your stupid interview questions because they convince you to hire them and then they suck. And then you should actually try to hire them as salespeople because they freaking sold you to hire them. They probably could sell some insurance out there. And we actually know some really good admin people that turned into really great agents, right? But anyway, so the cycle can repeat all kinds of ways when you do something new. And this is something that you need to be familiar with because how do you get mentally tough if you don't know what you're going to deal with? So we are telling you up front what you're going to deal with. Is that okay? You're going to go through uninformed optimism, through informed pessimism, to the valley of despair. Then you're going to start getting results if you don't quit, and you're going to get into informed optimism. And then there's it's a pivot point. What do they call that? That pivot point where the tipping point, they call it the tipping point, where you go from stage 4 to stage 5. And it's key both in recruiting and building and selling, the tipping point that puts you into superstar status. So what do you got to do? You got to control the emotions. How do you control the emotions? Look, gang, now that I've informed you of the road that you're going to drive down, there's these hills and valleys. You're going to make a left turn, right turn. There are going to be storms. There's going to be snow. It's going to be hard to get through this overpass when it's snowing, but don't eat your passengers that are with you, right? You just have to learn that there are things to do when these things happen. You're going to go through it. So here's my recommendation is make your decision in advance when you know this is going to happen, right? Like everyone I know, all top producers have gone through some mega chargeback situations, like where their chargeback wiped out all their commissions that week. We know it's going to happen. My question for you is, do you know what you're going to do when it happens? Do you know what you're going to do about it? Do you know how you're going to mitigate that? How you have less chance of making that happen? Do you know what you're going to do to learn how to not have to deal with it? But when it does happen, do you already know what you're going to do? Or how about this? When you're recruiting and building, you're going to get that big chargeback from producer that left you, and you got $3,000 rolling up, right? What are you going to do about it? Okay. One of our guys that are coming back, Jose Compton, I know y'all haven't heard from him in a while, but he was working off a 5-figure chargeback, and that's now down to 2,000 because he's working through it. And he's getting his upline's help. He's got his mind right. He's found the Lord, really, and he's getting his mind right. And you're going to see Jose Compton back on the leaderboard because he got help on dealing with the negative, right? He already made his decision that he's going to pay it off, and he's going to plug in and keep communication going. But so make the decision in advance of what you're going to do. So what are those things? The first thing that I've ever done when I've run into stuff is call Andy. call Andy Albright. Now, Andy Albright's probably not all y'all's direct growing up line. Okay, so call your direct growing up line. But, Andy will take a call from you. That's one thing amazing about him is he'll take a call from you, but you got to be ready for what he's going to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You call your upline, you tell him or her, how do I deal with this? Now, here's the thing. This is one thing that Andy's taught me. When you're trying to communicate a negative situation in your life, don't start repeating all the gory details. Your upline doesn't want to hear, all the gory details. Well, my friend's wife's mother worked for me, and she screwed up this case so bad, and now the client doesn't want it. I'm going to get a $2,000 charge back, and you're going to go into blah, 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 blah. Andy's going to say, hey, hold on, Bo. Stop. He's say, you know what? You really don't need to go into all that, because not only do I have to hear it, but then you have to hear it again. And I don't want you to have to hear it again, right? That's the beauty about Andy Albright. He's going to tell you not to repeat the horror story. The question is, Alex, I got this charge back. How do I work? How do I deal with it? Tell me what I need to do. What do other agents do? And then we'll recommend what other agents have done that have successfully dealt with that situation. Always call your growing up line, and never call your growing up line when the situation is to the point where the carrier wants to fire you because your placement persistency sucks, right? Because by the time the carrier, that's the worst time for your upline to find out is you're going to get a call, and it's from Robbie Kraft. And Robbie's going, hey, dude, how's your day going? Rock. And he goes, and I love how Robbie does this. You can learn a lot from his people skills. He'll go, hey, Avian, I know you're probably not going to like to hear this. Okay, so I love it. You're probably not going to like to hear this. I go, okay, Robbie. So I know it's not going to be good. He goes, you know your agent so-and-so. You know that person? I go, yeah, absolutely I do. Well, F&G Life wants to fire him. Oh, really? Yeah, they want to fire him like yesterday. You don't want that call. Clearly, if I didn't know about it, you weren't talking to me, right? Sometimes it's a surprise. I mean, I try to call my agents, but when it's a surprise, it's a bad thing. And it's your responsibility to let us know how you're doing, right? So call your upline. Let us know in advance before it becomes a major problem. Like, you get your first charge back, I expect you to call your growing upline saying, hey, Alex, man, I got a charge back, dude. What do I do? And I'll tell you, okay, let's talk about it. And then typically what I'll go into is, I don't know that your bond report was really good. I think you maybe talked him into it. I don't think you tied down that sale really good on the post sale. I don't know that you got your pain finding down really well. Like, you don't know the name of their kids? Oh, dude, come on, man. Seriously? I taught you that, right? Well, let's go over that again. See, it's better to counsel you on the first chargeback than the 50th chargeback, because by the time you get to the 50th chargeback, I don't know if I can help you before the carrier fires you, right? So placement persisting is a hard thing. So call your upline when anything bad happens. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe your upline can't help you with this. Like, Alex, my wife threw me out of the house. Now, we're not marriage counselors, okay? Right? So, and don't be asking us for money. That's not the kind of problem that we like to deal with. Okay? Andy always taught me, man, dude, it's funny how people are. They think you only have one upline. It's kind of like you only have one father and mother. I mean, biologically, right? Everyone thinks you're the only person that you deal with. They're the only person you deal with. When you've got 15 legs of multiple people in each leg needing your help, do I need to be a bank for all these people? No, you got to draw the line, because if you lend money to one person, all of a sudden it opens up to everybody, and you just can't operate like that. It's like, never, ever, ever lend money to agents. I'm just telling you right now. That's what Andy Albright taught me. Or if you're willing to just give money away, never expect it paid back, because that's what will happen. They'll never pay you back, and you're going to have all this resentment. It just doesn't work. But again, call your upline, but communicate in a very efficient way, saying, Alex, this is the issue that I'm running into. Don't go into the details, thinking that the details are going to, help us counsel you. just right away get to the point, right? The other thing is getting around successful people. I'll tell you what, nothing will help you sitting in your basement, in your shorts, chewing on nachos, surfing Facebook, right? When you've had a bad day in the field. That is not going to help you. Promise you, that will not help you. I need to get around successful agents, because getting around people that are already successful, you will get that same attitude and mindset. You will get that feeling of success. It's something that you catch. They can't teach it to you, but it's something you can catch, right? It's the positive virus that you want, is that mentality, the success mentality, and just getting around that attitude. So are you plugging into hotspots? Are you coming to events? Are you plugging into all the Zoom calls? This is how you get around successful people. This will help you control your emotions better, because you're not thinking by yourself in your basement thinking about all the negative stuff. You're getting around the successful people and they're talking about all the positive stuff. You need to immerse yourself around those people. Here's another thing too: books, audio, and events. Are you reading right now? I find that people that have the best attitudes, that can control their emotions, are book readers. They read books. Here's one thing that Andy's taught me. He goes, dude, an illiterate person, someone who doesn't read books is just like someone who's illiterate who can't read books. I go, whoa, say it again. He goes, a person who doesn't read books is just like the person who can't read a book. Whoa. I mean, think about the educational advantage of being able to read, right? So are you using that educational advantage to get your mind right? And we've got all the great books in Andy's book, The 8 Steps to Success. Are you listening to audio? Are you putting the good stuff in your head? Are you attending events, the 4 events we have every year? These are ways to keep yourself in the middle, keep yourself from going down and quitting at the valley of despair. It's funny when people decide not to go to an event like NatCon, or we've got Stage of Success coming up, they'll say, well, I'm just going to stay here and I'm just going to make you money, Alex. All those other people, they'll be out of the field, but I'll be in the field making you money. It's like, dude, I don't, the 10 cents worth of headaches you're giving me is not going to be worth any overrides I make from you by you not coming to an event. You need to come to the event. I don't care about the production. I care about you getting the stuff you need to get at that event. And you will get stuff there that I can't give you, that no one can give you on a Zoom call. You can only get it by being there. That's the only way that you can get it. Yeah, you got to guard your attitude. Guard your attitude like your life depended on it, because your life does depend on it. You got to guard your ear gate and your eye gate. What do I mean by that? Back up. So you have an eye gate and an ear gate. You see things that either are positively edifying you, or you hear things that are positively edifying you, or you hear things that are negative, or you see things that are negative. And you have to guard that with your life, because you come out every morning when you wake up, your positive gas tank is full, right? You're ready to attack the day, ready to do your job, ready to do the work, ready to take over the world, until you get that first negative where your spouse starts dumping on you. When are we going to get the money to pay the mortgage? We've got these credit card bills hanging, piling up. Why are you doing that insurance thing? You need to get your job back, right? As soon as you get up in the morning, your spouse is railing at you. And then, so your positive gas tank gets taken down to quarter to like half tank, because it's your spouse doing it, right? Because you take stuff from your spouse worse. Like those of you who are spouses, the worst thing you can ask your man or woman, so how'd you do today in your production? Trust me, that's not a good thing to ask. Don't ask them that. It's like, honey, I hope you had a great day. I'm here. What do you need me to do for you? That's what they want to hear. What do you need? If they're going to have a good day, they're going to tell you. Okay. If they're having a bad day, they're probably not going to tell you if they're smart. They're going to share that with their upline. They're not going to share with you. They're going to protect you from negative, because last thing they want is for you to get dumped on, right, with negative, and then you become negative. You can't go there. You got to protect your wife's attitude, your husband's attitude if they're not doing the business. You got to protect your own attitude. You got positive gas, and now it's half full. Then you go and you listen to Fox News, and you hear all kinds of bad stuff that's happening out there. You listen to the news, and you hear, or you just listen to radio, and you're hearing about all the bad stuff, people dying and whatever, right? Then your gas tank's down to quarter tank because you got dumped on. And then you go in to your first appointment and it's a no-show. And then you go to your second appointment, it's a no-show. You go to your third appointment, they show up, but you don't close it. Now where's your positive emotion gas tank? It's almost empty, right? You got to guard your eye gate and ear gate. So how do you do that? I would just get out of the house and not listen to my spouse. Like, I love her, but it's my job to provide for my family. So I'm going to do it. And if her dumping on me takes away from my gas tank, I'm going to get out of the house and I'm going to go, I'm going to go to McDonald's and have coffee, and I'm going to game plan my day, or I'm getting on the phone in my car. I'm getting away from that, right? I'm going to get away from listening to the radio and watching news on TV. I'm going to listen to positive stuff, positive audio. I'm going to get around positive people. I'm not going to, so my positive gas tank is full when I get to my first no-show, and my second no-show, my third no-close, I still got positive gas tank to go to my fourth appointment and fifth appointment. And then it's a close, because I've got positive gas tank left, right? You got to protect everything about your attitude, your eye gate and ear gate, right? You got to fill yourself with positive and not get around the negative. The next one in controlling your emotions is guarding your tongue, man. It's amazing how we speak all kinds of negative to ourselves. We don't even realize it. The power of the tongue, this is biblical, okay? The power of the tongue. You got the power to give life, and you got the power to take life away from someone, especially yourself. Because the problem with you saying it is that you hear it again. So you got to guard your tongue from negative, any negative. Right? Wow, that sucked. Boy, my day sucks. They start sounding like Eeyore, right? My day sucks. I'm wondering if this person's going to show up because the last three people didn't show up. It's funny how we are as salespeople. We go out there and you're thinking, you know what? Somehow these people all know each other, because I'm sure they're calling the next person and say, hey, don't show up because Alex is coming over. Because you're thinking that, right? You go from appointment to appointment to appointment, no show, no show, no show. And you're thinking, oh, my next three appointments are going to be no shows. So you start getting that negative attitude when, in fact, every event is independent of each other, right? Logically, you know that. But you start getting into this momentum of negative that will then dump on you, and your expectation goes to negative. It goes into the dumper, right? Instead of positive affirmation, your gas tank's still full, and every appointment, this person's going to show up. I'm fired up. I'm going to serve this couple. They need my help. They need life insurance to protect their families. They are going to buy from me because I'm going to serve them with the best possible products. They're going to love me. I'm going to love them. This is going to be the best appointment that I've ever run in my life. I am going to kick butt. They're going to be home, and you slam the door, you wave at the house because they're looking out the window, and your expectation is positive. And when you knock on the door and no one shows up, or you hear them saying, shh, it's that insurance guy, right? You go through that, you're not going to think any big deal because it's just another number. So it cracks me up when agents say, Alex, it's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers game. Yeah, until the emotions kick in, right? You think that you're going to go with this logical mathematical numbers game thing until the numbers, you flip the coin and it's tails, 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 and you're thinking, well, the rest of them are going to be tails. When in fact, you flip that coin 100 times, about half will be tails and half will be heads. Logically, that's going to be the case, right? But we start wrapping our emotions in the first 5 tails that we get thinking that we're not going to get ahead. Well, ahead is going to happen. You know it's going to happen. You just have to believe it's going to happen, right? And you can't dump on yourself with that negative expectation. I promise you, a guy like Mike Morisi, that dude is a machine. He'll go out there. He doesn't care if they show up or not. He doesn't care what they say. He's going to take care of them, right? He's going to take care of them. I love this attitude. Some of these people, man, how do I know? Because I know these people. You got to get around these people. They have some of the best. I mean, I get charged getting around these folks, man, because it just jacks me up all the time, because it edifies me that I'm going to find another Mike Morisi, right? I'm going to find another Jeremy Adaki. I'm going to find these people, right? All right, so here's the next category, and hopefully this will help you. Remind yourself why. Remind yourself why you're doing this thing. Why am I doing this? Right? Because sometimes we forget. We forget the people that we love. We forget why we're doing this. We forget who we're providing for, right? And we get fallen into our own selfish heads, thinking about me, and forgetting the major reason why we're doing this. Like Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. Everything starts with why. Nothing starts motivation until you know why you're doing something, right? You always got to remind yourself why. So here's my question for you. Are you doing what you value? See, sometimes we don't know what we value. So what does that mean, Alex? Well, if you tell me you value your family, right? And if I followed you around every day like a spy, or if a fly in the wall following you around, can I convict you of what you do every day, that you love your family? Because I see a lot of scrolling on Facebook. I see a lot of grabbing coffee, right? I don't see a lot of work. It doesn't appear to me that you love your family like you say you do, because you're not doing the things you said you would do to support them and provide for them. Like, do you really value? Like, what do you really value? Because when I follow you around, I see that you work out 3 hours a day, and you really value your biceps, right? You really value that 6-pack. You really value, how you look. I love it. You know when an agent, they're so enamored because they're taking pictures of themselves when they're working out. They take pictures of themselves when their muscles are pumped up to the max with all their veins popping out in the gym. You ever see that on Facebook? And that's when they take pictures. Like, dude, take a picture when you're sitting on your couch and you just woke up, or you're just, after you've eaten your Cheetos, if you're so proud about what you're doing. But what do you value? What type of motivation moves you? Actually, I'll get to the what. I'm going to help you with the what you value part. I'll get to it the next slide. But what type of motivation moves you? So what do I mean by that? Well, there's a really great author, you've heard of him, Tony Robbins, okay? And Tony Robbins' books, he talks about the type of motivation. Okay, there's moving away from motivation, going towards. What is moving away from motivation? What do you hate so much that you're willing to do anything to get away from that situation? That's the moving away motivation, right? Now, the going to motivation is, what do I want so bad that I'm willing to do anything to get it? Right? Now, we all operate with both types of motivation. What I found in my experience is the moving away motivation is the one that will get you off your butt quicker than the going towards motivation. Because the going towards motivation is an unrealized life that you want to have that's not here yet, right? But the pain of the things that's causing you pain in your life you want to get away from, that's what you're experiencing now. So what motivates you? The thing that motivated me when I got in this business is I couldn't stand being at my job. I couldn't stand being away from my family. I couldn't stand only making 6 figures when I know I could make more. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to find something that would give me the independence that I wanted. Independence from my schedule, independence from a stupid boss, because I'd been laid off before, right? And so it was like, what can I do to get out of this? And I was on my knees praying, Lord, help me. And then 2 weeks later, Andy Albright called me. And it was truly, truly God sent. God sent Andy in my life. And the rest is history. The rest is history. And I was wanting to get out of my job so bad. And that's what motivated me. I focused on that more than having an independent life, more than having freedom, more than the money, more than it was like, I got to get out of what I was doing. What is that for you? See, because if that is something for you that you is a burn, then I would put everything around my office that would remind me of that which I hated. Like a picture of a boss. I'd slap that picture all over the place. I put him on a dartboard and I'd start throwing darts at him. Just kind of like the visual reminders, right? Visual reminders of that which you hate. Okay, you've heard of dream boards, right? Dream boards are all right. I'm not against dream boards. Putting pictures of Thailand up, imagining yourself on an elephant, whatever. That might motivate you. Certainly, after you got a certain level, that will motivate you. But what do you hate? Do you hate being broke? Do you hate having negative in your bank account? What do you hate, right? Are you putting that around you? One thing that motivated me was my children. I would do anything for my kids, right? You would too, right? You would do anything for your children. And one of the things that motivated me when I was dialing the phone, when I first got into business, I'd be dialing the phone and I'd always find ways to procrastinate dialing the phone. You know how it is. It's like, okay, I've set my clock to dial at 5 p.m. and then I'm going to dial. So I'm walking around. I know 5 p.m.'s coming up. I got my leads ready to go. All I got to do is sit down when 5 o'clock hits. Even though I had time before, I'm just going to dial 5 o'clock. And then I see the hand ticking towards 5. It's 4:58. It's 4:59. And then it's 5 o'clock. And it's like, this is early in the business, mind you. It's like, oh, okay. You know what? People are probably they're probably going to be eating dinner at 5. So why do I dial at 6 o'clock? I'm just going to organize my leads and put them by zip code. And, then I'll be ready to dial at 6 o'clock. And so I'm putting around doing non-income producing stuff, and I'm going around doing junk. And then all of a sudden I see the minute hand going 5:57, 5:58, 5:59, 6 o'clock. And then, I didn't really practice my scripts really well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take tonight, I'm going to practice my scripts and practice objections. And then I'll start tomorrow fresh at 5 p.m. You know how you avoid stuff? You procrastinate. I was a big procrastinator. And then one of the things that I did, though, that really helped me as far as visual reminders is I have this really cute picture of my kids. They're young. At the time, I had 3. When they got in, I had a picture of them in their pajamas. And what I would do as a visual reminder is I would put that by my phone. So every time I start feeling like a chicken, SHIT, is that I'd look at my children and I'd look at them as if they're looking at me. And do I want to show my kids that I'm a wimp-ass agent, like that I didn't care enough about them to get on the stupid phone and start dialing the phone? These people who didn't know me. Like my opinion of what people thought of me was overcoming my love for my family. And I had to realize that was happening in my head. So what I did was I put a picture of my kids by my phone. And did I want Zoe, Athen, and Maddie to think their dad was a wimp? And I would just really get my mind wrapped around, I want to show an example to my kids. And I get on the dadgum phone, I start dialing. And so that phone became an emotional anchor for me. Every time I looked at it, immediately I would get that feeling of I got to provide for my family. So do you have visual reminders to help you, whatever that is for you? It could be anything. So as far as values, and I'll probably go into this more on Friday, this is a great book. I'd recommend to anybody this book called Off Balance by Matthew Kelly. And he has a great exercise on how to determine what you value in your life. And he does this thing where you compare, you make a list of all the things you care about. Like you care about your family, spending time with your family, spending time with friends. You value working out and being healthy. You value spending time with your parents. You value you're, contributing to your retirement fund. You value this business, selling in this business because it helps you make money for your family. And you write down all these things. It could be like 10 things. And the exercise he does here is he has you compare one with all the rest. And it's a A/B test. So you take the first one, you compare it to the second one. You take the first one, compare it to the third. Take the first one, you take that first one and compare it to all of them. And the one that is more important than the second one, you put a check mark next to. And then you start doing it to the next one down, second one down to all the rest, third one down with all the rest. All of a sudden you have all these check marks. And what you'll discover is the one that has the most check marks are the things that you value the most. And then the one that has the second amount of check marks is the second thing. And then the third thing. And you'll put them in order from, the top thing to the 10th thing. And then what you're going to realize, and he says it in the book, that when you look at the things that really mean something to you in your life, it only really is the top 3 or 4, maybe 5, right? That means something to you, means something emotionally to you. And that's how you figure out what you really value. Because here's what I've found in my experience is that when I don't do what I value, it causes frustration, it causes worry, it causes anger, it causes all these negative emotions because I'm not doing what I'm valuing. And it's sometimes you can't articulate it. It's that feeling like you can't define it. It's like, man, I'm so frustrated. I just don't know why. I don't know why I'm so angry all the time. And what you're really articulating is that there's an incongruency between what you value and what you're doing. You say you value your family, but you're not doing anything that shows me that you're valuing your family. Like, are you having dinner with your family? Right? Are you helping your kids with homework? Okay. You tell me you value the business, but after you get off from work, I really don't see you dialing the phone. Do you really value providing for your family with this business? So Friday, I'll probably get into how to do this and how to incorporate that into a schedule, because I'll get into heavy Friday will be habits, forming habits to help with this managing emotions. But you got to get this book, man. I'd recommend you all get this book. And I know how many of you have, followed a book recommendation and then you let that book come, the next day from Amazon, and then you put it on the shelf of all the other books you don't read. Okay, you got to at least read the first 3 chapters because he goes into this thing. The other thing he says in here that is really significant, 2 things. The next thing he talks about is that the veil of balance, it's a myth. Work-life balance is a myth. It's a veil. It's a veil. It's a concept that keeps you from moving forward in your life. You get compartmentalized into this work balance thing where when you're working, you feel like you should be doing life with your family. When you're doing life with your family, you feel like you should be working. And so Friday, I'm going to go into how you can get rid of that. But it's a veil, gang. It doesn't exist. You think that everything you do can conveniently fit into work or life. But what this book will teach you to do is that everything you do supports all the things you care and love, all the things you value, that everything you do revolves around the things you value. So working this business supports your love for your family, right? And your love for your family supports your love for God if your relationship with God is important to you. It all works. So there is automatic balance, and I'll go into that Friday. And then the other thing he says in there is that if you want to get into the other room of success, that's a different room. That room, those people in that room, they don't go 9 to 5. They're not 9 to 5ers. They're not 40-hour week people, right? It's a different room. But here's the thing about being in that different room is they figured out how to live a congruent life with what they value. That's why they are wealthy, but not only wealthy with finances, they're wealthy with their families. They're wealthy with their relationships. They're wealthy in their spiritual life because everything that they're doing supports all the things they love and care about. And it's a different room. It's not a 40-hour week room. It's a 168-hour week room. Well, Alex, when do I sleep? It's in that room. They know how to do it properly without this idea of balance. And we'll talk about that Friday. Got to get this book. Here's the other thing. probably related to your whys. Did you burn your ships? Right? Did you burn your ships? This is the when the Spanish explorer, oh gosh, his name escapes me. I think like in the 1400s, conquered Mexico. And when he got to Mexico, to make sure that his soldiers were going to fight, they burned their ships. They had no way to get back to Spain, I think. I have it somewhere. They burned their ships. There was not a choice. Do you have a choice? Did you burn your ships? How committed are you to this dream, to this business, to the life that you want? How committed are you to getting away from the things that drive you insane, that hurt, that cause you worry, panic, right? Someone lording over you called a boss, right? It causes you all this anxiety. How committed are you? Are you all in? Or do you have a back door? Do you have a back door that if this doesn't work, then I can do this other thing? Like, I promise you, man, if you don't have the commitment that you shut that back door, you are going to quit because you haven't decided that this is what you're going to go all in on. No matter how hard it gets, I've seen these other people's lifestyle. I've seen Andy Albright's lifestyle. I've seen the tremendous lifestyle and choices that these people have. I can do what they can do. I just have to do what they're doing to get what they're getting in their lives. And not only is it choices and income, it's the happiness and joy that they have with their families. Do you have that back door open? Because if you do, I promise you're not going to get through the valley of despair very easily. Is your backup plan moving you to your goal, or will it make you quit? So what do I mean by that? Here's the thing about handling negative, right? Burning your ships. It's like, it's not Ponce de Leon. It's someone else. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Someone's going to probably text me and say, dummy, it's this Spanish explorer. Okay, now let's stop with they stole that land from the Aztecs. They conquered. It's like, I'm not going to get into that. Okay. I'm just telling you the concept. Okay. So let's not get political. Okay. What I mean by that, the backup plan, you burn the ships. What's the backup plan? So if you get defeated in this particular area because you don't have the higher ground, what are you going to do to get around to move to defeat the enemy? That's what I'm talking about. The objective is still the same. What are you going to do to change your plan up? Right? Your backup plan is getting to the same goal. It's just doing it a different way. Maybe you're not making enough dials. So your backup plan is to make more tiles, right? Maybe you're not getting enough coaching. So your backup plan is to get more coaching. Maybe you're not getting enough production. So maybe your backup plan is to invest in more leads. Do you see how those backup plans are positive backup plans to move you forward? Or maybe your goal from getting free from your job needs to move out a month. It's okay to adjust goals. That's what your upline is there for, to guide you and help you to game plan how to move around the obstacles that you're getting, right? Did you burn your ships? When I went to the Air Force Academy, I was number 2. I hate saying that. I was number 2 in my high school. This girl named Kim O Young. There's Kim O Young. There's another Kim Young. Kim O Young. I'll never forget her. She beat me by 1 grade. And I would have got valedictorian in my high school class. But I only got salutatorian, which pissed me off like terribly, even to this day. The more I talk about it, the more pissed off I get, right? But I got homecoming king. That's something she couldn't get because she was this ugly ass Chinese girl that, I'm sorry, no offense to ugly ass Chinese girls out there, but it's very deep seated. I have to probably go through therapy on that. Anyway, I was number 2 to my school, so I could got into any UC school, and but I didn't apply to any other schools because my parents didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to go. So my dad gave me this idea early in my life. Hey, any of the service academies will pay for your school, and they'll pay you. I go, that sounds cool. What I got to do? You got to get good grades, right? And so I got good grades. I was in sports. I played basketball. I did a bunch of sports. I did theater. I did choir. I did all the things that you could do, which is probably the key why I got homecoming king, because I did everything. I knew everybody in my school. And so I made it. I made it to the Air Force Academy. And little did I realize that there are 16,000 people that are eligible to get an appointment after you go through the congressman and all the appointments. So I was competing out of 16,000 people. The Air Force Academy is the only place that I applied. Is that crazy? I didn't apply to anywhere else because in my mind, if I didn't get to the Air Force Academy, I'd go to a Loney Junior College for 2 years because my parents didn't have the money and they didn't know that you can get loans back then, right? They just didn't have the money. And then I transferred to a UC school, University of California school like Berkeley or whatever, but that was my alternative, which is not much of an alternative. And I made it. And I was really somewhat naive. Like I should have probably applied to the other service academies, but I was going to the Air Force Academy. I was convinced, right? I didn't really know the odds either. That's the beauty of it, is I didn't know that those were, what is it, a 0.6% application rate, acceptance rate, lowest of any school I know. And I happened to make it in by the grace of God, So anyway, did I ever think about quitting the academy? I absolutely never thought about quitting the academy. Why? Because my alternative was a Loney Junior College. That was my alternative. I could either graduate from a prestigious service academy and become commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force, serving my country the way my dad served in the U.S. Navy, or I'm going to a Loney Junior College. I mean, come on. What choice was that? I did not have a choice. I did not have a choice. My ships were burned, partly because I was dumb, but dumb in a good way, right? I never thought about quitting. I don't care what they did to me. And they did a lot of shit. They did a lot of stuff to me, man. My first entrance in the academy, or after boot camp, we got into our squadrons. My first day in my squadron was we call them SIs, special instruction. A sophomore cadet and his roommate pulled me and my buddy into their rooms. This is like 7 p.m. at night after dinner. And they did what they call special instructions. In other words, they hazed us. For 2 hours, they hazed us. We were at a brace, shoulders back and down. They put a 3x5 card under our chins, and we were sweating. They were screaming at us, and they were making us do push-ups. They were making us, it was hazing, pure and simple hazing. That was like first day, welcome to the squadron, you smack. But I never thought about quitting. To this day, if there's anybody that I have an uncharitable attitude towards that I still seek forgiveness for, it's that cadet. I can say his name right now, and I can see him right now. But I didn't let that make me quit, because I burned the ships. Have you burned your ships?
Now, why would a slick little hustler like you want to sign up for this kind of abuse anyway?
I want to fly jets, sir.
My grandmama wants to fly jets.
I wanted since I was a kid.
We're not talking about flying here, we're talking about character.
I've changed. I've changed since I've been here.
Hell, you have.
I've changed, sir.
No, you just polished up your act a little bit. You just shined it up. Now tell me what I want to hear. I want your DOR.
No, sir.
I want your DOR.
I ain't gonna quit.
Spell it. DOR.
I ain't gonna quit.
Yeah, then you can be free, and you and your daddy can get drunk and go hole chasing together, huh?
No, sir.
DOR.
I ain't gonna quit.
All right, then you can forget it. You're out.
Don't you do it. Don't you. I got nowhere else to go. I got nowhere else to go. I got nothing else.
That was me. I had nothing else. I had nothing else. When I got into the Alliance, I had nothing else. I convinced myself I had nothing else. I wasn't going to go to any other agency. I wasn't going to go to any other upline. in another IMO. I wasn't going to get out of the insurance industry. I was going to make this work. If I had to die, I came into this the same attitude. Went to the Air Force Academy. I had nowhere else to go. Do you have that? Or you have nowhere else to go? Do you have that in you? Because if you have that in you, you're not going to quit this. I promise you. So how do you handle the negative in your life? How do you do it? The best way, one of the best ways, one of the best techniques I've ever done it is I've reframed failures. So I had all days of no-shows. So instead of that, dwelling on the no-shows, I started dwelling on what can I do? What can I learn from these no-shows? I need to talk to my upline, and my upline told me, you need to work on your tie downs. Okay. What can I learn from this? Anything negative happens to you, what can I learn from this? Because I promise you, when you can turn and reframe failure into what can I learn from this, then anything that happens to you, you truly fail forward. We have that saying in our business, fail forward, which means reframe failures into the journey to success, which is learning from every failure, learning from every negative thing that happened. I remember so I got this lawsuit in the mail, right? I was being taken to court for denying employment to a felon out of the state of New York. And you know why? And this is something that y'all can learn from my mistake, is I put felons need not apply. Now, you and I know that felons potentially can get their license and can potentially work for us. But I just said, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to put in my ad, no felons. Well, little did I know that there are professional sewers that go in, and they really come from the sewer, that they look for those opportunities. And this guy was a felon. He looks for opportunities where they see any employment ad that discriminates against felons. Well, I was stupid enough to do that. And it's like, I've never been sued before. And I'm going, oh my God, and they were looking for a judgment of like $50,000, some crazy amount. And I was like sweating and panicking and whatever. So, the first person I called was Andy Albright. He goes, dude, you can't put that in there. I go, I know. What do I do now? And he goes, I'm going to hook you up, Bob King, my lawyer. And he goes, he'll help you out. And you know what? Bob King did help me out. He hooked me up with a company out there, a law firm out there. They took care of it. It only cost me $5,000 in lawyer fees, and we settled for $500. It wasn't nearly, 50,000 or whatever. And it was like, man, I was so glad to get off scot-free. But here's the thing. What can I learn from that? I learned that you don't put any discriminating language in an ad. Okay. That was a positive thing. It was a $5,500 lesson, but now you get to learn from my lesson, right? Everyone on this call, never put discriminatory language in your ads, especially in the state of New York. Anyway, what can I learn from this? Here's another thing Andy taught me is, like, I come to him and say, dude, this sucks, man. I got all this stuff happening to me, and this just really sucks, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And what I love about it, he goes, okay, dude. All right, I know it seems overwhelming, right? You're trying to eat the whole elephant. Let's just break it down, dude. So tell me the first thing on your mind that's bothering you. And so I'd explain something. Well, this agent, blah, blah, blah. It goes, well, I've had that happen to me before, and this is how I handled it. Oh, that's a great idea. Then he goes, what's the next thing? Well, I had this other thing happen to me, and Jenny did this, and he goes, oh, well, when Jane did that to me, you know what I did? And then now she loves me. Okay, so this is what you do there. Oh, what a great idea, dude. And then the third thing, I come with the third thing. And by the time he was done counseling on the third thing, it was like, I feel so good. Like the other 10 things didn't matter, because really it was the first 3 things that was really causing consternation. And it was all, 13 things all wrapped up into one, thinking that it's this whole situation when what he did to help me was break each thing down to its component parts and then dealing with each thing separately. I tell you what, gang, that is such a great way to learn to handle negative. You ever get in a situation, let your upline help you do that. But you do it yourself, break it down, shade your willingness to invest. But if you couldn't move all 20, shade your willingness to invest. But if you couldn't move all 20, would that cause you a situation with your spouse? Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, okay. There's better ways to make those decisions. What do you mean? Maybe you probably should ask me first if I should have made that decision. And never decide to quit when things are going bad. It's like, if you ever decide to quit, wait till things are rocking, right? We always say that. Never make a decision based on emotion. I don't care what decision it is, right? Check with your upline, have them talk you through it to take the emotion out. And then, is it a decision, one way or the other, that helps you get closer to your goal or get you further away from your goal? See, because every decision you make, it's either getting me closer to what I want or getting further away from what I want, right? And typically it's not knowing what you want, but thinking that maybe the sidetrack will get you what you want, when in fact, it's just going to sidetrack you. So you're never going to be able to diagnose that yourself. It's kind of like trying to diagnose a bad golf swing. You can never do that, okay? Stop thinking and do. The problem with thinking too much is that you start letting the negative thoughts overwhelm the positive things you need to do. So do the positive things to overcome the negative thoughts. I don't care how bad you're feeling, get on the phone and dial. I don't care how bad you're feeling, call, reach out to an agent and see if they need help. If you're building a team, reach up to your upline and say, hey, dude, I just want to give you an update. Stop thinking and do something. Call someone. First thing you should do, get on the phone and call someone. Go help someone in your group. Call upline to get some help. Call your cross line and encourage them. Hey, man, you're rocking. I saw you got that award for recruiting, man. I'm so proud of you. Stop thinking and do something positive.
I want to ask you a question straight out, flat out. I want you to give me the honest answer. What do you think the chances are of a guy like you and a girl like me ending up together?
Well, Lloyd, that's difficult to say. We really don't...
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight. I came a long way just to see you married. Just least you can do is level with me. What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah! I read you.
Yeah! Oh, man, I love that. That cracks me up so bad. So you tell me I still have a chance. Talk about the ultimate in reframing. I have to get out of stop sharing, and I'm trying to figure out where is my stop share screen. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, staff. Anyway, gang, it's 1:53. I hope some of these tips helped you. These are things that, this is not stuff I Googled, okay? So like I know, you could Google, how do I overcome negative? And you're going to get like the top 10 things from Google AI. It's like, no. I mean, you're going to get some stuff, right? But this is stuff that I've learned from Andy Albright. Okay, so this is kind of Andy Albright stuff that I've learned. And man, why not share with you the stuff that's helped me get to where I'm at? And I'm not where I need to be. I need to continue to move forward. So I need to continue to learn how to handle bigger negatives, right? Bigger negative issues and situations. So, gang, man, it was a pleasure. I hoped this helped you. We're going to do dig into some deeper stuff Friday. I hope that will really make a difference in your life and make a difference in your business. And, anything I could do to help you, absolutely reach out, man. God bless. I hope, this helps. So Alliance Nation, appreciate being on this call. God bless everybody. See you later. Take care.